And our final guest, we're going to bring up Caylee Waters, who, how many years ago, Caylee? 15 years ago, I was watching her in goal and winning championships for Darien High School. She won a championship in North Carolina in 2016. And now 10 years later, you are still playing professionally, internationally, a true inspiration. So a perfect way
Caylee
to end the night.
Welcome.
This is full circle.
Thanks, friend.
This is full circle.
Thanks for trusting me here.
Caylee play flag football. We were talking about youth football earlier. Caylee was the best player on all boys team. You're the only girl on that team, and you kicked their ass. So that was second, third grade, I think, and you've blossomed into an incredible goalie. When you think about playing high school lacrosse for Darien all those years ago, that you would still be playing, that there would even be the platform to play the sport you love more than a decade later, what has kept you pursuing this sport and really being on the front lines of growing this sport?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in middle school, it was different recruiting then. People weren't talking about colleges. So it's kind of like each opportunity has come, I feel like, at such a great point in my life. I was able to experience lacrosse firsthand of just playing for the joy of it, not the stress of feeling like I have to show up to every event, every showcase. And then I get to college then I get to high school, and it kind of just worked its way out of, okay, there are college opportunities now. I purely was just playing for the fun of it. I wanted to be good at it. There was always a challenge piece to it, a next step. And then when I was in college, though, there was no talk of a professional league. So you're kind of just in this moment of time, trying to make the most of it, loving the sport for what it is, because you don't know what else is there. Then I get to my senior year of college, and there's a pro league. So I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Then you play in a pro league, and it fizzles out year after year. So what keeps me going is that there are opportunities there. Maybe I didn't see it all the way through, but I just continue playing because I knew that's what I loved. Like, why not keep playing? And I'm so grateful for those opportunities. And that, now we have the WLL and the USA team. Like, didn't even know about the USA team at all in middle school or high school, no exposure to that. So I just have felt so grateful that the sport has really filled me up and just naturally led me the way it has.
For those of you who don't know, Caylee is one of the, and I mean this in the best way possible, craziest goalies I've ever met, because she wants the most amount of shots that she could ever possibly get in a 24-hour day. She wants to do the craziest drills that are not fun at all for goalies, just to get better. So it just speaks to your work ethic and how badly you want to be a part of, these organizations and teams and achieve success and get better every single year that you step out and play. And you always put your best foot forward. And when you hear Nate and Jason talk about the mental aspect as well, I know you prioritize your recovery as well every day. You are one of the best at it. And you're a whole reason why most of our team prioritizes it as well. What does hearing, their conversation mean to you, and how do you prioritize mental fitness?
Yeah, well, I think I have the most experience out of everyone. I'm 30 on the team compared to everyone else. But first off, I was a little nervous when I first came up here. So I do want to say thank you, Charlotte J. I'm not the pros. I'm not used to being on this mic. But thank you for having me. It's really special to be in Darien, the place where it all started, and seeing familiar faces of the people who helped me get to where I am today. So it gets me a little choked up because it means a lot. I got my family here, coaches. Yeah.
Hometown hero.
When I think about, I've never heard the term mental fitness, and now I'm sticking to it. I love that because there's so much. I've been playing the game for, I don't even know. I started in 6th grade. Let's say 18 years.
We won't make you do math.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Stick to saving.
And so much of my training, it was always about the physical piece. I love that physical challenge. I was always scoring goals in other sports, and then I become a goalie, and I'm like, what is this? I have to stand still,
Caylee does not stand still.
No, sure. And so, and I was older, and so I like that challenge of, hey, how can I be great in this position that not many people know about? So I had to discover that on my own. And so at first it was this physical piece. And then, as I get older and there's pressure in college, there's this mental piece and you don't really tap into that. And then I continue to have these opportunities to play. And so I've learned that there's kind of like, at least for me, two mental pieces. And one of them is more like sports psychology. And what's helped for me is a year and a half ago, I reconnected with a former U.S. coach, Jess Wilk, when I was first on the U.S. team. She was in Charlottesville, Virginia, and we trained together. And I had learned that while I was training, I was so competitive with myself and so hard on myself that I really wasn't getting anywhere. But there's a competitive piece of me while I was playing. So I was kind of bringing that to training, but it wasn't helping because I was so in my head. And so with Jess, it helped to I could be honest and tell her how I felt and be hard on myself. And she kind of helped level me out of like, hey, this is still a process. Like, even though I'm out of college, I'm on the U.S. team and I play professionally, I might not be right here right now at this point in my life. I may have gone down a few steps and that's okay, right? It's like, you got to recalibrate and understand where you are and understand that there's a new way to navigate it. The way that I was, approaching lacrosse previously from that physical standpoint of thinking as a goalie, oh, I have to see all these shots like 3 times a week before I have this or that. You just have to re-navigate. And then there's also the actual kind of mental fitness piece that Nate was bringing up that I've really tapped into and I've enjoyed, is just feeling that presence. And it's, what is it that helps you reset, like you said. And, for me, I've learned it's just about being outside. That's another piece of why I love lacrosse. I'm outside and my phone is not there at all. When I train, it's not there. And so I've been able to kind of tap into that and learn other areas to do that. And so I haven't been as hard on myself of what I used to do. Is it's like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep, or, oh, I didn't journal like I said I would, or, oh, I didn't do this or that. Instead, I've approached each day of what have I done that was right. I may not have been consistent each day, and I've now discovered new things that I enjoy as part of my mental fitness, whether that's a sauna, whether that's going to the beach, whether that's a cold plunge, or calling a friend up, or journaling. But it doesn't just happen consistently. So for me, it's just been kind of, you have to be able to adjust and navigate and be okay with it and make the most of it. Thanks for listening to my long answer.
No, it's great. It's all great stuff. I'm going to put you on the spot because both of you, actually, we've talked a lot about mental fitness off the field, but I know mental fitness on the field in the heat of the moment is the hardest thing to do as a competitive athlete like yourselves. So when you let in a goal, or when you, very rarely, but throw the ball away, how do you find a mental reset? Because I would challenge everybody in the room and everybody watching on YouTube right now to find a mental reset that works for you and really stick to that in practice, in games, because it does work. So if you don't mind sharing, with the audience, like, what have you found does work for you in that competitive headspace where it's so hard to find that mental reset?
Yeah, so I can think of plenty of experiences where that's happened. I've had coaches be like, hey, you just need one word. That's what's going to help you. Or what's your routine? Maybe you walk around the crease and then, or you say like, you'll get the next one. And what I realized was like, I didn't dig deep enough. I would be saying those things, trying those things, and it never worked. That word never worked. I tried all these different words, never worked. I couldn't seem to get a reset. And what I had realized was I was trying to reset for the wrong reason. Because I let a goal in, I was resetting of like, oh my God, I have to save the next goal. Oh my God, if I don't, now that's 3 goals let in. Oh my God, wow, that looks bad. Like, holy crap, And so instead, it's like, I just dug deeper. And I've also, I've read great books. I think The Inner Game of Tennis is good, Mind Gym, and I've worked on my breath work. And I just have learned how to be so in the moment that you're not scared of those things. And when you have that word or you say that thing, like, you say it with conviction and you mean it. And that's the difference of like how to get out of that headspace, is like you're saying something because your body and your heart owns it. And then you can go out there and fearlessly like lead yourself with that. So that's what's helped me.
I think it's also, as athletes, your mistakes are much bigger in your head and they replay way more frequently than anything good you're doing on the field. It feels way worse than it actually is in your own head. And so for me, the best way to get out of that headspace is reminding myself of that exact fact, that I feel like this moment is so drastic. I just turned the ball over, or I missed a shot in such a critical moment of the game. And then you can start to spiral about what effect it's going to have on the outcome. And if you make another mistake, back to back, what that might lead to. But reminding yourself it's much bigger in your head than it actually is. And also something that's worked for me is just getting out of my own head by turning to a teammate and vocalizing how I feel. And that can be really hard. You have to be very vulnerable to be able to do that and really trust the teammate you're going to. So that teammate must know exactly what you need in that moment. And, that's something we work on both professionally and internationally with Team USA, is building those relationships so that you have that trust and you have those teammates, exactly who to go to and when. And if you are someone who's vocal, like I'm someone who's a big energy person, if I need, someone to lift me up with energy to get out of my own head, I'm going to give that to them so that we're giving it right back. And so that's also something that comes over time. You practice these habits. Everything you do in practice is the same thing in a game. If you make a mistake in a drill in practice, it's the same kind of practice that you want to, and the habit that you want to have for when you're in competition in the heat of the moment. And it's not just something you flip on game day.